I believe Greg Popovich is a better head coach than Phil Jackson. I know a lot of people are going to say that's crazy. Phil Jackson has more than double the championships. I believe Coach Pop is a better coach than him. Reason why, Phil Jackson obviously had the benefit of coaching 3 top 10 players all time to those 11 championships, right? So 3 championships with Kobe and Shaq, 2 more championships with Kobe and Powell and the rest of those guys, and obviously 6 championships with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. That helps a whole lot. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us, and write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. All right, y'all. So last topic here. Just wanted to take a few minutes. It's not going to be a long one, but wanted to take a few minutes to get G's thoughts and kind of talk a little bit. Legendary head coach Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs announced that he will be retiring from coaching and he will be moving to the front office. You know what? That's another good one too. Sam Cassell to the Spurs. Wow, that would be real good. Yeah, not mad at that. Anyway, we could discuss that later, but I think that I just want to take a moment to say like how great a coach Greg Popovich is and has been. I think he's easily one of the top 5 coaches of all time. He's right there in my humble estimation with Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. I think he's been that good. So here's some stats, and then I'm going to give you my very unpopular opinion. He coached 2,263 career games. He won 1,422 career games. He's the winningest head coach in history. He lost 841 for a winning percentage 62.8, so we can leave that at 63. And he did all that with the Spurs from 96 to 2025. So again, most regular season wins by a coach in NBA history, led the Spurs, this is crazy, to an NBA record 22 consecutive winning seasons, 18 straight 50-plus win seasons. Like, that doesn't even make sense. And 6 seasons with 60-plus wins. And, of course, 5-time champion, right? Playoff coaching stats, coached 284 career playoff games, won 170, lost 114 for a win percentage, 59.9%, 60%. Again, 22 consecutive playoff appearances, NBA record. Playoff wins, 170, third all time, behind the aforementioned Phil Jackson and Pat Riley. 5 NBA championships, tying him with Pat Riley and John Kundla. I don't know who that is. Who is that guy? I got to look him up. John Kundla for third most in NBA history. 5 NBA championships. 3-time coach of the year. Tied with Pat Riley and Don Nelson for the most in NBA history. NBA coach of the month 17 times, the most ever. Naismith Hall of Fame inductee. Red Auerbach Trophy 2014 for coach of the year. He also has a gold medal as head coach of USA basketball. So all of this, to me, I'm going to get to it now. I believe Greg Popovich is a better head coach than Phil Jackson. I know a lot of people are going to say that's crazy. Phil Jackson has more than double the championships. I believe Coach Pop is a better coach than him. And the reason, okay. Thank you, Woodage. Okay, there we go. John Kundla was the coach of the Minneapolis Lakers with George Mikan. Thank you. I was going to look that up after the show, but thank you. I appreciate that. There we go. All right. So back to Coach Pop. I truly believe he's a better head coach than Phil Jackson. The reason why, Phil Jackson obviously had the benefit of coaching 3 top 10 players all time to those 11 championships, right? So 3 championships with Kobe and Shaq, 2 more championships with Kobe and Powell and the rest of those guys. And obviously 6 championships with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. That helps a whole lot. And my thing is this: as great a coach as Phil Jackson was, he did it running the same system for all 11 championships. Now, with Pop, I think that he was more diverse in the way that he could beat you, right? Obviously, he won early with the Twin Towers, David Robinson and Tim Duncan. And then he won just Tim Duncan inside out. And then he won developing with guard play, right? With Tim Duncan still being the defensive anchor, but then you see Manu and Tony Parker. Tony Parker becoming a finals MVP, Manu Ginobili being sixth man of the year. And then you see that last one, 2014, you see him winning utilizing the Euro style. Again, Tim Duncan still being defensive anchor, but utilizing the Euro style in terms of elite ball and player movement, extra pass, passing the ball, and dominating shooting the three when he was a guy who never liked the three. So watching Coach Pop's ability to win one in across 3 decades, that's crazy to win championships across 3 decades and to be able to win in so many different ways. It's almost Belichickian in a basketball sense. Gee, man, what are your thoughts with what I said? One, about uh, Popovich's numbers, and then two, about him being a better coach than Phil Jackson, despite having less than half the amount of championships.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, man, congratulations on Coach Pop. I think
Yeah,
I think he was the player the players coach, right? He was the coach that the players
yeah,
want. I remember
yeah,
hearing stories about how, a coach might lose their pop or something. He say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna stay
yeah.
here as long as you need me to stay here."
Hmm.
And just being that person that players can kind of like look forward to. His tenure there showed that winning is winning, but it's bigger than basketball. And
Yeah.
I think that was his mantra, right? He could have won so many more rings if he
Mm-hmm.
would have probably changed the way he coached, but he didn't. He stuck with his guns, and now he moved to the front office. But as far as him being a better coach than Phil,
Hmm.
I don't think I can agree with you on that one.
Okay.
I think they two different coaching styles, right? One was like strictly business, whereas though the other one was like it was more like a family with Pop, from my understanding. Whereas though
Yeah.
with Phil it was more so like a theme. You hear about themes and structure and like, that triangle offense. We
Hmm.
didn't really get we didn't really get that from Pop. I mean,
Right.
uh, yeah, I can't really point to one thing that I would say Pop did really, really well when it came to coaching, except for managing his personnel and making
Mm.
sure he get the best out of them. That system that Phil had, not and I don't want to dim Pop's lights
No,
talking
I
about
like it.
Phil, but
Hmm.
I just think they on two different. It's just two different coaching styles. Doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's just two different coaching
Hmm.
styles.
Right.
One was really for the win. The other one was, for family. It was like a family band with Coach Pop, from what I heard the players say.
Hmm. No, those are all great points, G. And again, this is not at all for me trying to take a shot at Phil because I don't, I would be foolish to do that as well, right? Same way you're saying you're not
Yeah,
trying to Coach Pop's light. I'm not trying to dim Phil's light. I just think the difference for me in terms of the Phil piece is that Phil could only win one way, and with those elite of the elite of the elite players in NBA history, right? And
yeah,
meanwhile, I think Pop showed his versatility as a coach to be able to change and win along with the way the league was changing. Like, to me, that stands out so much in terms of what he was able to do and why I think he was so amazing. Um,
yeah. He was a life coach, right? Not
yeah,
just a
yeah,
basketball coach.
great point. Yeah, Robert Ory
Yeah,
talks about when, he was going through tough times with his daughter and everything. And he was saying, Coach Pop told him basically, hey, look, family first, stay with your family as long as you need to. And then when you're ready to come back, we're here. So Ori
yeah,
talks about that. And, obviously he's not the only player, as we well know, who talks about Coach Pop in that light, as you mentioned. And so I think that's huge. Just to kind of be a little bit objective and fair and talk the other side, I heard Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington on the Odd Couple the other night. They were discussing, and Rob Parker says that for all the great things that Coach Pop has done, the thing that stands out to him most, and it's a black eye on the league, and I think he's right, is that he introduced load management. And we would be remiss and disingenuous if we didn't bring that up. Because remember, I think they had a national TV game against Miami, and they had just played like back to back, and the team was older. And Pop Pop sent Manu, Timmy, and Tony all home and played that game without him. He's like, "Yo, my guys are older. Nah, we're not doing this. Back to back to back, or whatever it was. My guys need a break." So he sent them all home, and people were up in arms because that was a national TV game, and his stars weren't there. And so that was the beginning of load management. And Pop and the Spurs medical team, they did do load management correctly because why? Um, at that point that they introduced it, all their stars were getting old, right? They didn't do it like the way so many of these teams do it today, but they did it in the right way and they were able to continue to have success. So there's that. So we would be remiss if we didn't bring up, unfortunately, that Pop is the progenitor of load management. And that's been such a black eye on the league. So got to be fair.
I can't argue with you on that. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and
Mhm.
he's always been a really good coach in my eyes. And so if he introduced it, it was for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think the whole Kawhi thing too. Remember when Kawhi got
Yeah.
hurt?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
big
tough.
thing too.
Mhm. Yeah, and
And
he
he
and the
ended up
Spurs.
suing him, right?
I don't know if he sued him. Maybe. Because I know that him, Pop, and then the Spurs medical team were thinking that he could have come back, and they were thinking that he was malingering or whatever. And then
Hmm.
what do you call it? Tony Parker was like, "Yeah, I've had the same injury and I came back." And as we know, every player is different, and the pain tolerance is different. What their bodies are going through in terms of recovery is different. And now, as we've seen, Kawhi legitimately has real issues. So
Right.
yeah, tough spot to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was running on stilts.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right.
He definitely looked like he
Yeah.
was running with
Yeah.
plastic
Yeah.
knees and shit.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah,
at the end of the day, I think nobody's perfect, but I do think
right.
that I think that Pop has a legitimate argument for best NBA coach of all time. I really do. Pop, Pat Riley, Red Auerbach, and Phil Jackson. So I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I do believe Pop is a better coach than Phil Jackson. But it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
You think he a better coach than Pat Riley?
Man, that's tough. I do.
I
Pat
I think
Riley,
they'll
though.
both be
So the reason I think that, obviously, Pat Riley had the benefit of winning 4 championships with Magic, Worthy, and Kareem, right? That helps a whole lot. And then
right.
when he won his fifth one as a head coach, D Wade in his prime and Shaq just out of his prime, but still dominant, right? And then of course one of the best defenders ever coming off the bench in Alonzo Mourning, et cetera. So, and then of course he was able to, what we talking about, coaching. But yeah, I do think Pop is just a little better than those guys.
Yeah, yeah. Good for you to give him his flowers, man. I think you're gonna have a statue soon if you don't already have one. I
He's
don't know. I
got to.
never been to San Antonio.
Yeah,
Um,
me either. But he's got
that's
to have
part of
stats.
my next tour next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
after my 20, I get my 20. I'm
Yeah.
going on tour. I'm going to visit all the
Okay.
arenas and watch at least one game. Yeah,
That's what's up. That's cool, man.
it's not that many of them.
30? Yeah, it's 30.
Yeah,
That's not bad. All right, well, let's go ahead and
yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah.
we'll take a couple calls to end out the show, and then we'll get out of here, man. All right, y'all know the deal, man. Give us your thoughts on Coach Pop. I'd love to hear what some of you have to say. Let's see. Got a comment here. Phil was smart enough to know how good of players he was dealing with. Dennis Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, and step back. I think Pop is a better classic coach. Agreed, Chad. So X's and O's and classic coach, yes. If we're talking about manager of people, I think
Mm,
that's where Phil, what did they call him? The Zen master. That's where Phil came in, right? Because as we know, like the triangle wasn't even his, right? That's Tex Winter's offense. But obviously, he learned it, he mastered it, he taught it to players. But I think that he was more so great in managing his players. Like when Kobe and Shaq were ready to kill each other, he was able to handle that, right? With Rodman and Jordan and Pippen, he was able to handle that. So I think you're 100% correct, Chad B. But yeah, when it comes to X's and O's and scheming and all that, yeah, I would say it's Coach Pop, definitely. Now, Riley might have edged him out, in my opinion, if he was able to win in New York, right? because what really impressed me about Pat Riley, as we're on the topic of these all-time great coaches, real quick, is that when he left the Lakers, right, being Showtime and running gun and all that, he went to New York and had a completely different type of team and was able to have a high level of success in a completely different way with the ruggedness and the physicality and the defense in the Eastern Conference at that time. So that speaks to how good of a coach Pat Riley was and able to be adjust. And had he won a championship there, we'd have said, okay. Because imagine that. He would have had a championship with Showtime Lakers. He'd had a championship with the New York Knicks. And then he'd had a championship with the Miami Heat as a head coach. Like that would have put him over the top for me, both over the top of Popovich pause and at the top over the top when we're talking about Phil Jackson. So yeah.
At
And
least
that's
he
no
didn't step
disrespect.
down like Saban.
Mhm.
At least he didn't step down like Saban.
Uh-oh.
I know. I know.
No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
At least he's
Well,
just going into retirement, really. That's what's really happening. He's going into
he's really
retirement.
retiring from coaching. And I think maybe at his age, after having I think he had a stroke and all that, right? So it's probably, the physical burden of all the travel as a head coach. But being in the front office, he doesn't have to travel nearly as much. He doesn't have to travel if he doesn't want to, but he can still be around the organization and still be around basketball. So I think that's the big
Yep.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like we're not gonna
About
have
the
any calls on
passion.
this topic. So we are gonna leave it right here, y'all. Man, thanks for everybody who tuned in. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. Make sure you share this show. I appreciate all you guys. This has been man, it's been smooth. It's been easy. Me and my man G, we
Smooth.
make it happen.
Smooth.
Smooth. All right, y'all. We out. Peace. Enjoy your Sunday.